Hello, Ilaria Di Carlo. It's the talk with one of the artists presented at Loops.Expanded in Lisbon at the National Museum of Contemporary Art. Thank you so much, Ilaria, to join us and to have this conversation about your work with us. And welcome to Lisbon and to the show that unfortunately due to confinement we cannot present it presential, but we'll make an online preview for a few days with your authorization. Ilaria, the work that you presented at Loops.Expanded, that this edition, it's a very interesting work. It's entitled Divine Way, and it's based on Dante's Divine Comedy. And you work a lot with literature, with the references of classics of literature. But in this particular work, that is a video, when you perform an amazing and an endless descent through a labyrinth of staircases. And it is an amazing loop with a very, very strong performance from you. Can you tell us a little more about what is the context of this work? And because I know also that was shot in 50 different locations in Berlin. That's right. Can you talk a little more about the project, please?
Yes. So the film, it's based on the Dante was the main idea, the metaphor as well of the search of fate and self. You know, it's a kind of a journey, and for me it was a metaphor of our daily life, where a character is kind of struggling, search for himself with his own demons. And so I use the metaphor of the staircase, which always represents the subconscious and your inner self. Mm-hmm. So to portray this kind of aesthetic, kind of also Dante, it's a big staircase. The hell is made in circles, and it's a big descending that staircase for hell. So I kind of took this classic reference, and then I researched for 2 years, like all these different perspectives of architecture. And my idea was to build a story just told by these places, and that the places changing and kind of represent what the character is having inside. So the film is shot in Germany, and like most of the locations are in Berlin, because I'm based in Berlin. But then the research was so long, and also went to this rural area of the industrial area of Germany, like North Westphalia.
Yeah.
And so, but basically, mostly is in Berlin, and there's a lot of museums, and it's also performance for me as well. It's nice that you said, because it is this performative element that I also very much refer to Duchamp in his Nude of Descending Staircase.
Yeah, a lot
of references. Mm-hmm. And it's also Dante himself, like the artist himself, descending into this personal hell in a way. So at the end, it was a really strong.
But it is also very beautiful film, because of the architecture of the spaces, the architecture of the staircases, that are very, very impressive. And as you say, they change, and they assume like characters in your descent. You know, you pass from interiors to exteriors. And they are also in formal times, in this formalism. It is a very beautiful film also, because of this element of the architecture. That seems to me that is very important also in your work, because you have studied scenography. That's right.
Yes.
So one of the aspects that it seems to me very interesting in your work is also this connection with scenography that is very strong. We have participated in projects of other authors with scenography, where you signed the scenography in performances. That I realized that. But also you make some projects for theater. You don't work only in film; you work also in the field of theater. That's right.
Yes, actually, I have a very long and very intense background of performing arts and theater. I've always been interested in experimental theater, in general, in contemporary language, like not classic. And then it's like maybe 6 years ago, I decided to move into film. It felt really natural. And then I studied again, and then I made 2 films. That's the second one. And now I work also for scenography for film. I work in the film studio, and I do decoration, or like, I work for the production design for film. And I'm still also working a little bit of theater still, but actually I'm moving more and more into film.
You are more interested in the film. That was a recent passion.
Yeah, like 6 years ago, I started making film, although, of course, I have been all my life very interested in film now. So I think it's also natural from theater to go into film. And like now also I'm preparing a new film, and I'm trying more and more to follow this film passion more than the theater, because I mean, it's both, for me, work is interesting, but I really have like following more film at the moment. But sometimes I do theater also at the moment.
But this importance to you of the literature, it seems to me that it's present in the film also, and it is before in many of your works. The film Black Book also, it's related to literature. And also Duluhum, this is from the chapter of James Joyce, The Brothel Circle. So the literature here is very present also in your work, and you assume that you try to the literature to make a reflection about also the voyage and the construction of identity. Can you explain us a little more this aspect? What is the importance for you from you have also a theater play from UNESCO, from the Double Act. So the literature references are abundant in your work. Why this presence so strong in your work in not only in film but also in the performing arts?
Yeah, I have I study, for example, like Latin and ancient Greek in high school, and studied Dante 1 year, Inferno 1 year, Purgatorio 1 year, Hell, and so so I don't know, I think it's something I carry with me. I'm really like, I love reading. So James Joyce, for example, Ulysses has been 10 years research for me.
Wow.
Which, I've been also in Dublin. I searched all the places of the book. And then I worked, when I was in the university, I was doing what was my main project in scenography. I was trying to stage, and actually also made a performance I wrote with a theater, but like, this is really many years ago. So, and then I'm really interested about journey and identity, because I'm also like a nomadic person. I moved places, so I also have a reference to it. And I believe, especially when I interpreted classic literature, like the process of to reinterpret it in modern time, it brings a critic in within already, because already, like, for example, the new film I'm preparing now, it's based also always loosely based because it's on the sirens from the Homeric
Odyssey. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like a total like dystopian interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But by doing this, I don't know, I bring in like my own critic and something poetic that I'm very interested about. And I think like these stories, like archetypes are so strong in literature, and the work of making a new work, the rewriting, I think is always fascinating. And also for contemporary literature, like UNESCO or Joyce, they bring in this anti-hero figure like from the contemporary theater, which also very relate to in like, so the Homeric, like the Odyssey, Ulysses figure, it's like keeps living into the also in the avant-gardes, and it changes, it evolves within our, because it's our background. And same, I think, like Dante or like this main, so it is a challenge always to work on these big like books.
Authors, yes, of course, and they are also a very strong visual works, you know, in the sense of their construction. They are very visual, a strong visual connection also with other arts. So it seems to me important that you do this connection and this relation. But also this importance of the journey, but you make this main theme's journey, and also a construction of identity, but always in relation also with space, with the environment, with the architecture, with landscapes, with several spaces. This is also a connection that is important for you. For what reasons?
Yeah, okay. Well, first I have a background in scenography, so it's my biggest interest is to stage a space for like, storytelling. For me, like to create the space for that. And then I realized, I mean, my struggle also for experimental, as an experimental filmmaker, is like how I can create a story without using a word, but bringing emotion, and not only being like weird nonsense, like many experimental work. Sometimes they have this tendency of being, so I want to tell anyway a story, but I'm trying at the same time to find something powerful that speaks to directly. And I find architecture and space as this potential. And the more I've been like researching on that, then I realized, wow, that has big potential. Yeah. And that's why I'm trying to continue this research. Also in the next film, it's really only landscape, more than architecture. Also architecture, but it's landscape, and it's industrial dystopian landscape. And within that, I'm trying to tell a story, bringing also a political and social context. And that fascinates me, and and I feel as this potential, and it allows me to speak without words and be poetic, and that's what I really like, to like be literature but without the words, and so bring poetry and other into
for you. It's the path that you want to give more importance right now. Do you think that, but you still work in scenography, or you are making all your effort or creative efforts now in film?
Well, I've been working until like November. I was working for film for Pablo Larraín, the Chilean director. I was working on this Lise stories based on Stephen King. So sometimes I do projects, I work as a freelance, so I take, and then I try to do my experimental film. It takes me so long to make one film. This one new, it's 3 years I'm preparing it. Oh. And it's shot only with helicopter.
It's a long-term process.
Exactly. So I need this time, and meanwhile, I like to work with other people because I learn so much. It's always interesting to enter into different work for different artists and collaborate. So this also, it's for me very interesting and makes me always more skilled and learn. And
of course, of course.
And so, but this one, the new film, now I'm making 2 videos at the same time. For a choreographer, making a video for her, and then a really beautiful work, Kat Valastur. And then this, my short film, that's 3 years that I'm working on, that is shot in, so it's aerial cinematography, and it's so planned because we shoot in few hours and in 3 different regions of Germany. Like really plan, and yeah, this I really like, but I cannot really sustain myself within this type of work, but I believe it has like something beautiful. So I prefer to do one piece, but very like
very with time and with many preparation.
Yes, then make many, and maybe like lowering this yeah, and also the artistic research that I'm doing. So yeah, it's a bit complicated because it's unsustainable, but it has a beauty as well. And
yes, of course, and the time is very important in some projects. It's an element that can change a lot the aesthetic and all the formalism of the film. So it seems to me that in case of your work, when you work also with so many literary references where this question of time is also important, is also this rewriting that you said, that you try to rewrite some of the references that you have. So this take time, of course.
James Joyce Ulysses, he wrote it like 25 years, you know, it was his life project, and it's amazing, like it changed literature, and it also has a beauty, you know. So I mean, it's just an example, but also like Michelangelo will take 7 years to make a painting, or I think time is relevant, but we are in such a big consuming time, and we have to produce. I mean, I feel this pressure that you have to produce every year.
You have to produce,
and it's all about quantity, but I sometimes like to step back and have this freedom also to take my time to make a work and be visionary about it as well.
Yes, and this is visible in this film that we presented here in Lisbon, Divine Way. There is a very accurate sense of staging of the plans of you realize that you have a very precisely planning about doing the film. It's not something that you are undoing. It's a piece that where you realize that there is a lot of planning there. There is a lot of reflection about how to make this film so beautiful, also, but also so efficient, because it is a very efficient loop. It's an endless. It's a loop in the loop, you know, because all the semantic references that are inside the film about this labyrinth of descending, always descending. It's very interesting, and we realize that there is a lot of work, a lot of planning work beside the film. So it seems to me that this time that there is also very present in the theater, in the staging of the theater, that you make like a fusion between the two different arts, and build a very interesting dialogue. You feel the presence perhaps of the theater in the films, and I don't see any of your works in theater, but perhaps you feel already the presence of the film in the theater and in your scenography. So it seems interesting, this dialogue that you put into the arts, and how you mix your references and your work in that. Beside the sirens that you are working, I don't know if you are working now, I suppose not, so if you are in confinement there or no. How have you been living these days and this moment for someone who the theme of the voyage is so important? How do you live this moment for your work? And
well, I'm in Berlin, and it's been okay here. I think like it's never been like in Italy. I'm Italian originally, yeah. So there was never been this forced lockdown. Mm-hmm. There is a relaxed also feeling, which is because I think it's a lot about fear at the moment. So. Mm-hmm. So personally, I work very much at the moment, so it's good because I have no distraction.
Of course.
So the shooting of Sirens is now beginning of March, mm-hmm. And then next week I'm shooting this video for the choreographer Kat Ballastu, and so it's really busy. Hoping it's gonna end up very soon. Meanwhile, I focus, and it's in a way, I mean. It's time to slow down, and I enjoyed that as well because it gave me a lot of time for reading. Mm-hmm. Or that I always life, you always have to choose, know what you're always running, and so for me I hope this has not as bad consequences, and because I feel like it's a changing into a
changing moment,
forward, and that really scares me. Mm-hmm. Because I already feel we are such an individualistic, narcissistic society. So I'm afraid that now we are all like in our bubble and like living everything online and digitally. Mm-hmm. This is my biggest worry, and I'm sure it won't be easy to come back to a normal life. There will be a time in between, like a post-traumatic time, and
yeah, I suppose so. Yes, for everybody, it will be times difficult times yet, because I think this changing will be necessary, but with many consequences also, and this is a time that we will see what it comes.
And for me, it's also personally, I will wait, but I'm really worried also about the whole cultural system. I feel they are the most affected by it.
Yeah. And more fragile. This was one of the most fragile areas, of course, of the fields of this crisis is the culture, of course.
Biggest concern.
Yeah.
Because,
to all of us. Yes, but I think that's why it's so important now that and I have spoke with other artists that are presenting works at Loops.Expanded and with other artists, and now the feeling is also that the keep working is very important, and also the make an effort to reinforce make an effort to make more collective projects, to make this more accurate, this think of the collective, the think of working together. It seems to me that will be very important now for the next future after that. And this kind of way to survive to the consequences of all this crisis will be very important. So as always, it seems to me that art will be fundamental to keep us alive and to keep us with your mental health also in the best place.
That is also, I felt, especially now in the first lockdown, I realized, and I mean, not me personally, but I think everybody realized that how important is art. In this moment, if there were not movie, music, books, we would go insane. And then suddenly it became such an important part of humanity. And I think from one side is in risk, but from the other side, like humanity really understood that value, that sometimes it feels it's more like a hobby, when then suddenly became so important to survive.
Yeah, I think so. It's true. It's true. I think that you think that was granted that you have this and you don't need to worry about. But I think it's important now that we have realized that our lives will not be the same without that. So I think it's important. Ilaria, thank you so much for your time, for your patience to talk with us. Very good fortune for all your future projects. Okay. And thank you so much and keep safe. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me, and thank you.
Thank you, Ilaria. Bye. Bye.
Ciao.